Speaking out of closed session, I have a motion moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 7:06 p.m. Any comments on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. And Mark, was one of those matters that we went into closed session. There is one matter arising from closed session. Do this on motion. I have it moved by David Mollison and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the quotation in the amount of $4,000 plus HST from Alec R. Wilson Surveying, Inc. for completion of surveying work for parts of Augusta, Edmond, and George Streets in Ayton. Any questions or comments on this? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. If I didn't say it before, Mark, only those matters that we went in a closed session, if the minutes note that, we're the only ones discussed. Now, there is one thing before we move along, and I noticed that all individuals have really got dressed up tonight, especially our clerk with his tie. I'd like to mention that. Mark, you look very good in that. And probably the reason for that being that we have started on a new videotaping process of council meetings. We have Adam Olivier, Adam Olivero. Sorry for the mispronounced. I got the Adam part right, did I not? Okay, very good. Adam does local producing for Wightman Telecom, which is a local cable 6 channel, and we're going to video stream. I don't know whether this is live yet, is it, Adam? Not yet. Okay, we've got time to have that 7-second delay then. And this will be on our channel 6 on the local cable network. So thank you very much, and your indulgence for everybody. We do have mics here, and I would just say that when we get down to delegations, I would ask that the speaker for the delegation take the podium. There is a microphone at the podium. It's a yellow button. It's not yellow there. Oh, it's not yellow over there?
It might be, just the right.
There's a button there. When you push it, this turns up red. And you'll know that you're live from there. So we can move forward from that. So just thank you for using the microphone to our delegations to start off with. And welcome, and I hope we can entertain you for the full extent of the meeting, Adam. Okay? Moving along. Public meetings. We have no public meetings this evening. We have consent agenda. And I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of Council of the Municipality of West Grey held on January 7th, 2013, and further that the minutes of the West Grey Committees A2 be received as circulated, and further that the minutes of other committees A3 be received as circulated. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. There we are. Thank you, Mark. And with consent done, that brings us back down to communications from Mayor and Council. Is there any communications from any of the council members? No public meetings a week or so ago that anybody wants to talk about? Oh!
Saugeen Valley, we had our annual meeting on Friday afternoon. It was well attended by mayors and representatives from all throughout the watershed, and we've had a really good year at Saugeen Valley, and we're hoping to have a really good 2013. The mayor actually spoke twice entertained us there that day.
I did have the privilege of bringing greetings on the behalf of the municipality, and the warden of Grey County had asked me to bring greetings on his part as well too, so I was able to do that, multitask for once in January. Any other ones? The new chair after the elections, the new chair is still is the same as the old chair, Bill Scriven. West Grey appointment is chair again for 2013. And yes, still doing an awful lot of upgrading and making the facilities. And one of the comments that came out not only from the mayor of West Grey and the representative from Grey County, but a couple of other mayors as well, said the parks, green space access, the Conservation Authority is really working hard to put infrastructure in place and to upgrade those parks, and especially the Sulphur Springs, which was the old headquarters. And living close by that, it is used on nice days, on stormy days, on gray days, and on sunny days. There seems to be always somebody, cars in there. One comment that was made on New Year's Day at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there was 32 cars in the parking lot down there with families and people out for walks and enjoying the green space. So thank you to the Conservation Authority for looking at that and reinvesting into those green spaces in Grey and Bruce counties. So if there's nothing else, there was a rather large turnout last Tuesday night to the public meeting. I think most councillors got there and probably left with less information than they showed up to start with. So I'll leave the comments at that. And there's no other comments from council on what's been going on. That moves us down to delegations. And we do have a number of delegations, so we're about 7:15. First on the agenda is Steve McCarthy. Mr. McCarthy, I see you're here. You have a large numbers of paper in front of you, so I'm going to tell you, you've got 15 minutes. Read quickly. No, Steve. The floor is yours. If you've got a presentation for us, I believe it's on a gravel pit application on concession 10 or County Road 12, and yeah, sure, start it there and we'll get it across to us. Thanks, Steve. So the podium's yours, Mr. McCarthy.
There you are.
You're on now.
We're live. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I'm here tonight on behalf of family, friends, and neighbors who reside along Grey Road 12, close to the intersection of Glenelg Road 23 and the community we call Wadby. I live at Lot 13, Concession 10 in the former Glenelg Township. My grandfather purchased this farm on April 21st, 1891 for $1,450. In 2010, Lot 14, Concession 10, which is immediately to my east, was sold to Cedarwell Excavating. If you could look at Schedule 1, this farm is in the center. The present owner has applied for a gravel pit license. The areas to the west and north of this new application are primarily residential and agricultural. Although we are not in favor of a gravel pit opening here, we recognize the rights of the owner and choose to find solutions that make the least impact on us, the residents. The most contentious issue so far has been the pit entrance. At this point, the application process proposes that the main access route utilize the existing farm driveway at or near the center of the lot, which is marked as A. On November 15th, 2011, a new field entrance B was installed for farm equipment 55 meters from our farm and directly across from another residence, Stemmeroff, and facing another endemic. If this driveway was to become the entrance for a gravel pit, it would be devastating to us, the adjacent neighbors, in terms of increased noise, dust, trucks accelerating, decelerating, and idling. We would like to lessen the burden of the proposed new pit on our neighborhood. We would like to enhance safety for ourselves and the many people that travel on Grey Road 12. We therefore would like to present a petition to council that states, the undersigned understand that an application for a Category 3 Class A aggregate pit license has been filed concerning the property at Lot 14, Concession 10 in the municipality of West Grey, County of Grey. If this application is approved, there will be 4 contiguous pits in operation in our small residential and farming community, which must be precedent setting. We, the undersigned, request our municipality's support in easing the visual, dust, traffic, and noise burden in the community of Wadby, to relocate the access to the proposed pit away from Grey Road 12 and onto Glenelg Road 23 by enlisting the cooperation of the existing pit owners, operators, the municipality of West Grey, to establish a common access to Glenelg Road 23. A common haul route to Glenelg 23 is good planning. The existing pits access Grey Road 12 from Glenelg Road 23 and Bells Lake Road. This intersection has excellent visibility. Traffic on Glenelg Road 23 is slowed because of the intersection, a stop sign with a flashing red light, the river, and an offset bridge. There are other advantages, as a buffer zone and berm would not be needed between the lots. This would add to gravel inventory and make rehabilitation easier and more effective. We plan to visit with the Grey County Transportation and Public Safety Committee. We think, all things being equal, the county would favor common access to reduce points, or access points to Grey Road 12. We would like to ask council support in this. In summary, we as ratepayers in West Grey request that our council investigate the possibility of this access onto Glenelg Road 23. We also ask that West Grey Council formally request that the county comment on the 3 pit access options independent of third-party permissions. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you, Steve. I guess would you entertain any questions back to you if council has any, or?
I'd love to.
And that was an if. It wasn't saying that they would.
Sure.
But again, thank you very much for the information and some of the historical background. I know that we have seen or have had preliminary discussions with Cedarwell, the applicant, and it is at the county. What normally we wait for the county's official plan before West Grey will entertain the zoning amendments and whatnot for the application. But I'd just like to say, is there any, at this point in time, any comments, questions? Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Steve, thanks very good to see you again. Thanks very much for your presentation. 1 or 2 little things at A, the entrance to the gentleman who used to reside there that sold the property to Cedarwell. Does he still live in the house?
Yeah. Yes.
And he plans on staying there?
From what I know, he has life, as long as he wants to stay, he can stay. Yeah.
Okay, that's the deal. Okay. Okay. And just wondering if there's any options to move the driveway. Have you been in conversation with anybody about those?
About moving the center driveway, or?
Yes, about moving away from B.
Well, I guess we're looking at the 3 options so far. Like there is a 4th that could be on the east side of the farm, but to this point, there's been nothing asked for on that space, I guess, or on that place. But
Okay. And if I might, one more point, Mr. Mayor. I guess the proposed access that you have, I'm just not sure if that's feasible going across the Ellison property and West Gray property to get into the back. And I'm just looking from a perspective of liability and a few things like that. And what happens if somebody decides to opt out of their agreement? It's going to preclude anybody from getting gravel out of there.
well, for sure. I guess we can only ask it. That would be a starting point. I guess, yeah, we'd have to see how long that road is. I guess it could be almost a natural severance and
Yeah.
unassumed roadway as well.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the idea the Ellison pit is pretty well exhausted, and what happens from here on in, recognizing we've had that pit for quite a while, as you well know, but
Yeah,
that could present a problem, but okay.
sure. Yeah, no, I was thinking of piggybacking on the agreement that West Gray has already too. So
Yeah, okay. It'll give us something to talk about at some other day.
for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions of Steve at this point in time? I think you've overwhelmed us with information here, Steve. You got them stalled right at the present moment. Normally it wouldn't, through the planning process, this will go, take this back. I mean, it's a number of members of council that are on the planning committee and the committee of adjustment. So we'll see this back, have time to digest it and take a look at it and bring that some of the requests and or asks and still doing work with the applicant himself, which I think you may have been in contact with to offer up some of these ideas and see how we can come to a reasonable solution to the concerns that the citizens in Wadby have.
Downtown Wadby.
Oh, sorry. Yes, downtown Wadby, not as in the rural sections of Wadby. Yeah.
For sure.
Did you want to give us a historical how Wadby got its name, or will we leave that to another day?
I'm at 14 and a half minutes. I don't.
No. Okay. Fine. We'll talk about that at another time then. Thank you very much, Steve, and we'll make sure, as I said, we'll have dialogue and take this under consideration moving forward with the planning and see what your how the response is at the county as well too. So, okay, thank you very much. Okay. There's Scott. We do have a full slate of delegations on this evening. Matter of fact, we usually just only have our procedural bylaw says to have 3, but the mayor has that ability to adjust, and so we have 4 on this evening. So we better keep going, or we might have some overtime for some councillors here. And I'd hate to keep the press till past midnight; they may miss their deadline. Mr. Kilpatrick. The West Gray ATV Club. Scott Kilpatrick is with us. And Scott, if you want to bring us up to date on what the ATV Club is, welcome. Thanks for coming out.
That one. The red, that's the one. Just keep hitting buttons. Well, if anybody doesn't know me, I'm Scott Kilpatrick. I'm president of the ATV Club. Just wanted to update the council on the progress and the future plans of the club. In the past 5 years, we've done a lot with the community, doing fundraising and community service like park cleanups for the municipality of West Grey. As a club, we have shown maturity of the ATV riders in West Grey as they follow the rules of the road and respect the general public and property owners. We as a group do many rides throughout the year and cover lots of areas. If there's any points of concern, we can report to the proper people or authorities. The club promotes and provides a safe and enjoyable outdoor experience for all riders. We promote tourism with places of interest to visit in our community with the economic benefits that result. Now we have been approached by neighboring clubs to link trail system through West Grey. So we now have become members of the Eastern Trail Alliance as a registered non-profit organization dedicated to establishing and maintaining all-terrain vehicle trails in the municipality of West Grey. The Eastern Trail Alliance provides a $5 million liability insurance policy to all its clubs that protect clubs, landowners, and municipalities. With trails in West Grey, we would sell Eastern Ontario Trail Alliance trail passes to ATV riders, similar to snowmobile trail passes. There is a day pass or annual passes. These passes are, with every pass, there is 80% of that money coming back to the West Grey ATV Club for trail building and maintenance. The club to the east of is Dufferin Grey ATV Club, which has trails that extend from Chatsworth to Shelburne, which we hope to work with in the future. The club to the west is Huron Shores ATV Club, and we are currently working together with Huron Shores, which have trails from Wingham to Port Elgin with connecting links to Salvo Beach. I would like to approach the council to amend the ATV bylaw to include a few non-maintained roads. The roads that we would like to consider are not overgrown, impassable ones that everyone thinks of. Any trails that we put in will be put in such a way that are accessible to police or emergency services. We would also like permission to mark trails on maintained and non-maintained roads with a small reflective arrow about 5 inches square so that riders from out of the area can follow these trails that join all three clubs. With a trail system that links all three clubs, it invites tourism, drawing people from the surrounding areas. This trail system would have a network that extends from Shelburne to Wyerton and Wyerton to Wingham, and then from Wingham to Dundalk. I have seen on past runs, from out of town enjoy the area so much that they have now became vacation properties in West Grey. Others have seasonal camps and local campgrounds. With the way the weather has been going, ATV sales have increased 8 to 1 compared to snowmobiles. The sport of ATVing is growing in rapid rates. We as a club would like to bring the growth into this community and promote and share the beauty that we have in our backyards. So, I have some maps here of the proposed road. So the roads that are marked in green is a proposed trail that we'd like to get through. Any of the roads that are marked in pink are the non-maintained roads that we would like considered to be passed.
Well, thank you, Scott. I think it's going to take me until well past midnight to get through all of this paper that you've given us. But I know you just want us this evening just to look at the map of West Grey and what you're looking at there. One thing I can tell you for certain, we're not going to pass it tonight.
That's understandable. I figured that.
Oh, good.
You don't want to make any snap decisions.
Exactly. But in saying that, this gives certainly probably be discussed at committee of the whole, whether it be next Monday or the next committee of the whole meeting when we take a look at this, and it would definitely be a divergence.
I know that Dufferin Gray over at Grey Highlands had to go back and amend their bylaw. So Grey Highlands, the municipality of Grey Highlands have amended their bylaw to include certain roads so they can access trails. So,
in saying that, how many, just as a point of interest, how many members does the West Grey ATV Club now have off the top of your
there's
head?
about 40. So,
And that's been consistent or increasing since the club came together?
it's increasing actually we have a couple runs we do, big runs we do in the summertime, and it increases by almost 10% every run from people from out of town. The last run we had people from Stayner, Wasaga Beach, Hamilton, Kitchener. We had a run in the spring and the guy liked it so much and he now has a campsite up the campground up here. So
Now he's a full-time member.
yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions for Scott at this point in time? Don, go ahead.
I guess it's always been a concern, Scott, that four-wheelers and mud go hand in hand. You have a comment on that, that if we open the non-open roads?
Yeah, sorry. Most of the runs, the trails we run, there isn't a lot of mud holes. And yes, there is certain areas we go that there is mud holes. So the trails we want are for everyday running we do. We actually have a guy that goes with us on a regular basis that's an oxygen tank strapped on his four-wheeler. He's 78. So like the general public thinks of us as ATVers that there's a mud hole, we're hitting it. We just go out and enjoy the countryside and the community and go. It's fun to play in the mud, but we have certain private properties that we do that on. So most of the trails that we want to put in are passable trails that you could drive your car down. They're just out of the way. It gets the ATVers off the main roads that they have to worry about traffic, pedestrians, people riding their horses. If we can get out of the areas, it's more enjoyable for everybody and safer for everybody. Because nobody likes running down a highway where you got to keep looking over your shoulder to see if a car is trying to pass you.
Okay. Now that oxygen tank is for the driver, or is it just to make the four-wheeler go faster? It's not nitrous oxide.
No, it's up for the driver. He has it up his nose, but he got us a little excited one day when he said, "How far is it to home?" "About an hour." Well, I only have an hour left of oxygen. We better get going then. So,
I certainly agree with you. It, still, for our over 55 population, it is one way for them to get out there and still see a lot of the bush and the natural landscape that they have participated in for a long time.
Over 55.
Yes, Councillor Cutting, do you have a comment?
Yes, I do.
Somehow I thought you might. Go ahead.
I'm hoping it's over 70, not over 55. I think 55-year-olds can still walk.
Well, they may be like that other individual. Yes, they can walk out, but sometimes they need to be they need a ride home. But you're correct. But it's still. Any other comments, Deputy Mayor? Before I get myself sunk too much further here.
Yeah, don't sink any further, Mr. Mayor. No, to you, Scott, and your organization, there's been a lot of, shall we say, education seminars put on by your organization. To you and your, thank you very much for doing that. I think everybody's not only better educated, especially the people that don't ride four-wheelers, but also the people that do ride four-wheelers. You've made it a safe and enjoyable sport. And the other thing I want to mention, you've done a tremendous amount of work in regards to community involvement. I know that you've helped the Legion do some certain functions. Yep. You've also helped some other organizations do that. And to you and your members, thank you, because you are a valued member and an organization in the municipality. So thank you to you and yours, and you can pass that on.
thank you.
Okay, Don, comment?
Yeah, all these road allowances you'd like opened up are all marked on your trail except for one here down for number 5 at Orchardville.
Yep.
Why is that one marked?
It's for a future link across from, like, Dufferin Gray wants to bring a trail across too, and that's going to just make a bigger loop. We would like that considered, because it's like I said, it's a passable road by vehicle, and that gives us an option to go down through Ayton. Right now, I just wanted to get the main proposed trail that links all three in the most direct route. But the 35 would be it's a nice scenic route that anybody can run. Any rider of any ability can run. So we would like it considered too.
So you're indicating that there may be a trail coming out of Southgate that would connect up to that?
Eventually, that was from another club that they discussed that maybe they were going to do. They were coming down from Southgate. The original plans were that they had proposed one from Southgate. That could link, or we could change, or we could modify it. So it's just one option we want to keep open.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Gould.
Just wondering, Scott, what you got planned for river crossings?
Most of the river crossings, we could either bridge them. If they're not a deep river, we can cross them on a 45-degree angle so it doesn't disturb it. But most of the running we do, there isn't many major river crossings.
I see number 6 there, you're crossing the Saugeen.
Yeah, there is a road crossing there that's been built up with stone. It's natural stone, and it's not a deep crossing right there. It might, at best, it's 6 inches deep, and it's all river stone. So there's no disturbing of the silt bed or anything like that.
Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, when you were saying that, someone this past summer has taken a backhoe in there and has actually cleaned that river bank and made it accessible for tractors and whatever else to cross that road. So, yeah, it's been well maintained, and the water level is low there, so it's not that wide to go across that.
We will we'll look at that. Okay, anything else for Scott? Well, thank you very much. Scott, through Dufferin and Grey and Bruce County, a number of those trails that you spoke about, am I correct in saying that the majority of that trail system is on old railway allowance?
Not a majority, well, no, not a majority of it. I could show you actually right here. I only have one of them, so to answer your question. Actually, that's not one.
Bruce County one?
This is Dufferin Grey one. And that's everything.
If we just use even the Bruce County one,
The Bruce County one is the Laws of Rail Trail.
it's
But they have
predominant. Yeah.
Dufferin Grey extends all through here. These are non-main roads and road allowances here. This here is their rail trail.
Yeah.
But they extend here and going up here.
They have some offshoots off of it, but the CP Rail Trail is
Is their main.
the main trail.
Is the
Yeah.
main trail.
Just another reason why we were Grey County that we shouldn't have allowed those trails that were already in place to disappear. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much, Scott. And as I said, got a lot for us to look at, and we will discuss it and take out some of the options and probably take a look at some of the options, not certainly take them out, but take it apart and be back communicating, work back and forth with the ATV club and see how we can both prosper out of this joint venture.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. As I've always said, Steve, the council meeting is, it's a public meeting. You can stay as long as you want. You don't have to run off just after your delegation.
Petition.
Did you, oh, so, and the one thing, you left a petition with Carrie? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Steve. Our next delegation, and we're just about dead on time, was Lynette Jones. Oh, see her here. Okay, well, seeing as some of the weather out there, I can't see the MTO yard, the old MTO yards now. There was a while, a few minutes ago there I couldn't, but the next one we have is Marilyn Dixon with the Durham Girls. And Marilyn, you're not really scheduled until 8 o'clock, but you know, if you wanted to jump up. I didn't think you would at all. So the Durham Girls, Drum and Bugle Corps.
And our chair, Crystal.
Okay, Crystal and Marilyn, go ahead then. We'll turn it over to you. Councillor Lawrence.
I'd just like to declare, I am not declaring a conflict of interest, or I have no pecuniary interest, although I'm a member. I have no pecuniary interest, nor does my daughter. And also, I want to reassure you, Marilyn did not share with me the presentation that they all seem to have, for the specific reason that there'd be no illusion that I had prior knowledge. So I'm seeing it for the first time as the rest of council.
Okay, we'll have the, Mark will put that in the minutes here, the recognition of that. Marilyn, or Cheryl?
Actually, hi, I'm
Sorry,
Crystal Owens, and I am the
Yes.
newly appointed chair for the reformed Durham Girls Band. And we're here tonight to discuss some possible support for funding while we get ourselves back on the ground. I'm going to introduce Marilyn to give us a little bit of background about the band, and then I'll take over and we'll talk a little bit about what we're actually proposing. Thank you.
I expect most of you heard us this summer during the homecoming, and that is what now has become the Durham Girls Alumni Band. But I would like to just start back a bit, and I'll try and go through this fairly quickly. But I'd just like to clarify there are 2 or 3 different groups with similar names and a various history and so on. Anyway, some of you that grew up in Durham will remember way back to 1949 when the Durham Girls Band first started, and it performed for many years until 1984 when it was disbanded. Each year, new members joined as they came to high school, and of course the ones who graduated from high school moved on. Over the years, we have had approximately 650 members belong to the band at one time or another. And as we have for other homecomings in Durham, the band members were really looking forward to the homecoming festivities. And a band reunion committee was formed, I believe about 3 years ago, which began fundraising for the reunion. Not only did they raise enough money to have a good celebration for those of us that attended the homecoming, but they also were able to provide money to the homecoming committee to sponsor 2 other bands for the parade, Preston Scout House at a cost of about $2,500 and another $1,000 for the Fergus Pipe Band. And so that that band reunion committee was very active leading up to this homecoming. Their enthusiasm spread to some of the rest of us that were being contacted about the reunion and, of course, about the homecoming. And some of us thought, wouldn't it be great if we could actually have some of the former members march in the parade? And so we cast about and identified 17 musicians who were willing to give it a try. And last February, a few of us gathered, first of all, to try and get our lips in shape. Those were the trumpet and baritone players. And those instruments in particular take a little bit more preparation maybe than drummers or glockenspiel players. We had to start early, particularly since some of us had not played in 30 or 40 or even 50 years. Anyway, during the weeks that followed, we added glockenspiels, drums, a drum major, and a color party developed routines to perform with our music at the homecoming. And although we had originally planned to perform 3 or 4 of the pieces that the band used to play over the years, these talented women mastered a full repertoire of songs for both the parade and a homecoming medley for the show at the arena afterwards, or at the fairgrounds. These women approached the rigors of weekly practices with gusto and squeezed practices and performances into lives that were already busy with family, work, and other personal commitments. Besides our practices, of course, they practiced through the week, and some of the members traveled fair distances in order to participate in the homecoming. And we were honored once again to lead a parade in Durham. It's been years since the Durham girls have done that. Our enthusiasm was echoed by the citizens. Every time we played, we were encouraged to keep going. And after the homecoming, we started to receive other invitations. We, in fact, did 13 performances in total from the summer until the final one was the Santa Claus Parade at the beginning of December. We led the parade again for the Fall Fair Committee. We performed for the Terry Fox Run organizers, a couple of Thundercats hockey games, and of course the Santa Claus Parade and Remembrance Day, the on November the 11th. And as we were encouraged not only by the sounds that we were making, and I should say at this point, if we'd known that you were going to be videotaped, we might have brought some instruments and given you a real fanfare tonight. Anyway, as we played and were invited to perform other places, the townspeople were very encouraging. And with that encouragement, we have decided to continue. And so our group now has chosen an executive. We've adapted a name, the Durham Girls Alumni Band. Our chair, our executive, our chair is Crystal Owens, treasurer Cheryl Hewson, communications committee Jackie Gingrich and myself, and we have an equipment committee, Marge Wells and Diane Benniger, who is here as well. We've started to discuss options for procuring equipment because so far everything we have done has been with borrowed instruments from Preston Scout House and 3 other individuals. We've opened a bank account and we've started to work through fundraising options. And we're also looking at expanding our membership beyond the original. There were a couple of people that their goal had been to perform for the homecoming, and then they had done what they set out to do, and they've stopped. But we still have about 15 musicians who are planning to continue, as well as a color party. And so we're looking at ways of purchasing instruments and so on. Just before I turn it over to our chair, Crystal Owen, who's going to discuss the essence of our proposal, I just want to clarify a couple of things. Some of you may have heard that the Homecoming Committee has given our group, the Durham Girls Alumni Band, $1,000. So that was the overall Homecoming Committee. Then there was the Band Reunion Committee, which donated, with their proceeds, donated 2 benches to the Legion for at the Cenotaph. And so we're the group, the Durham Girls Alumni Band, that really would appreciate you listening carefully to what Crystal has to say, and I'm sure you'll be just inspired to send some money our way.
So as we gathered together as a group and decided that we were going to actually carry on with this and then bring the spirit of the Durham Girls back into Durham, there were some challenges that we recognized that we have to overcome. The first one we were concerned with was membership. We do understand that we're not as young as we used to be, so we might want to bring some younger girls into the mix as well, so that we can actually make this a lasting event, or a lasting group that's going to be around with the community for quite some time. Any of us that grew up with the Durham Girls, the lessons that we learned, the teamwork that we learned, the comradeship that we learned and shared has been with us forever. We all look back at this fondly, and this is one of the reasons that we've all wanted to carry on. We're hoping that we can bring this forward into the community again and bring that same kind of feeling back into the community. We do have some ideas for boosting our membership, and that's something that our committee is actually going to be working on. Another one of the issues that we came across is we're going to have to come up with ways to do fundraising, because ultimately we would like this to be a self-sustaining group. However, and we do have some ideas. We had the calendars that we sold at the end of 2012, and those are available for sale, by the way, if anybody still wants a calendar. We also recognize that most bands, when they appear in parades, get paid. We've already been invited to play for the Mildmay Homecoming this summer, and they're going to pay us. We're happy about that. We are part of the communication committee will be going out to different towns and different organizations and letting them know that we're available. We suspect that will take a little bit of time to get it really rolling. However, with the reception that we got last year, we're not thinking it's going to take as long as initially we thought it would. So those are the two of the biggest challenges. But by far the greatest challenge that we can see is procuring equipment, is instruments. Up until this point, we have used borrowed instruments. Some of us have our own instruments, and that we'll continue with that. That's not a problem. However, in December, we had to return some of our drums to Scout House. We had borrowed our giant bass drum, and it said Hanover Girls on it, and we're not Hanover Girls, we're Durham Girls. So we had to tape paper on it to make it look like it was our own. But this is a huge challenge because instruments are not cheap. So what we are asking is whether that community spirit that we want to bring back can be extended from the West Grey Township and maybe give us a little bit of support. Marilyn's going to hand out our proposals. We have 3 possible proposals that we've thought of on our own. By far, this is not the limit to what we are willing to do. However, this is what we thought of that would be a good starting point for negotiations if we need to. The first option, which of course is the most beneficial for us, would be for the municipality of West Grey to purchase the instruments for use by the band members. Ultimately, if this was the option that we went with, the municipality would own the instruments. Therefore, if something happened with the band, they actually have those instruments that they could resell and recover a lot of the expense. Musical instruments really don't depreciate nearly as much as a lot of other things do, so a lot of the expense would be recoverable. Or an alternate to that could be donating the instruments to a local school board or something like that if we ever came to the point where we didn't need them anymore as a band. Understanding that that could possibly be a very expensive option, we came up with 2 other options as well. The second option could be to enter into a loan agreement with the Durham Girls Band. In that case, the band as an entity would use our fundraising efforts to repay the municipality, and we're proposing over a 5-year period. With that option, we're kind of hoping a little leeway would be in with that, that we could, the fees that we would normally receive for parades and performances in Durham could be applied directly to our principal. A third option that we came up with would be to enter into agreement to have the municipality of West Grey match the band's fundraising and performance fees, dollar for dollar. That way we are showing the commitment that we're willing to make as a band, and the township could in turn commit to us. By far, these are not we're not limited to these options. This is just what our executive has come up with initially. We would appreciate any help that the band could get to get itself back on its feet. We do still have access to our borrowed instruments, but it is a limited time offer, so we will have to phase them out over time. So in conclusion, the reformation of the Durham Girls Band has been well received by the Durham community. It was a lovely feeling marching down the street for homecoming with the crowd cheering for us. We had Scout House on either side of the street clapping and cheering us on, and there was not a dry eye in the band, I guarantee it.
That was because of the temperature, too.
Okay, and there wasn't a dry back in the band either. It was terrible. But our members are enthusiastic about preserving the positive history and experience the band created in its time in Durham. We are noticing in Ontario especially a resurgence of drum corps that they went by the wayside in the 80s, and they're coming back as alumni bands. And Preston Scout House is a very good example of that. We actually went down to their tattoo this summer, and there are a lot of alumni bands out there now. And they are approaching it with such enthusiasm, and it is just such a good group to get involved with. We're the embodiment of community spirit in and around the Durham area, and generations of women have been involved in the band and have carried its benefits throughout their lives. In order to support the band's future endeavors, the initial financial outlay for instruments will be difficult to cover solely through just our fundraising efforts. Thus, the Durham Girls Alumni Band is looking for a donation from the Westbury Municipal Government as our home government. Thank you.
I guess the one thing, thank you very much, Crystal and Marilyn, for offering this up to us. A number of times I've said it myself from this chair, is that you've identified the problem. Do you have any solutions? Well, you've got 3 of them here and are welcome to having more if we can come up with them. So I say thank you to that. On a personal note, I had both my mother and my 2 sisters were in the Durham Girls, so I have some memories. As my sisters were practicing and learning, I don't think that they were fond, but they did get better. They did certainly get better as they practiced and went on, and both of them were down for the reunion and the homecoming, and we're very surprised at seeing so many people back, and it was a great time. And thank you for taking on the onerous task of, not only you, Crystal, but all of the ladies here, for taking on the onerous task of rejuvenating and reviving Durham Girls' musical skills here in the town. And with that, I'll ask, is there any questions or comments? Everybody's got their nose down in the options without thinking. Mr. Bell, do you have something? Or?
No, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thank you, Marilyn, Crystal, for your presentation. I think everybody, and I happen to be in a little better position, I guess, than some, to see all the ladies marching by, and very proud of that, as you were. And I'd say we'll seriously take a look at the options here. I don't think we can make a fair assessment of everything here tonight, but I think at the next, I'm not sure if we can put it on the committee of a whole agenda to have a little chat about this and your options. I'll be honest with you, I commend you for bringing the options forward, because we're, shall we say, inundated by certain fiscal pressures by a lot of different groups. But you have presented 3 options. I've read through them quickly, and with there might be something here that could work. So, but we'll have to have a little discussion about that. But thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Any other comments going forward? I think John summed it up there best. Certainly, thank you for opening up the discussion and giving us an idea of, one of the ways that it's not only promoting Durham, but as you very much well know, and I think the community out there maybe needs to be reminded of it. It wasn't certainly restricted to Durham Girls. My 2 sisters, they started out, we lived in Egremont at that point in time, and I think a number of individuals, there was probably as many from, or more from outside the town at any one time were marching than were from right in town. So this is something maybe we'll definitely take a close look at, and maybe be exchanging options back and forth as we go forward. Now, in saying that, is there any deadline, timelines that we have to meet here, or you're looking at meeting?
We need to get practicing again.
We decided as a group to take. If we possibly can. We also have some invitations that we need to confirm. We have to make sure we have instruments, because we're a good looking group, but we gotta play.
You're right. Good looks will only get you so far. All right. Yeah, I think I've heard that line.
Mr. Mayor, I just...
Go ahead, Carol.
I mentioned it before here at council, but just so all council is aware, we do carry the West Grey flag in the color party.
Yes, that was noticed by more than just one person, but did notice that. So again, thank you very much, and we will discuss it as we go forward, whether there are is a way that council can participate and look forward and come up with all viable options to make this successful. So thank you, and yeah, stay off of the snow and ice, and when it starts getting nice out there, get going back at marching again. Thank you. Okay, further to our delegations, Mark's just got an email here a few minutes ago. Lynette Jones has canceled because of the inclement weather, so I guess we'll stick to the original. We only have 3 delegations tonight, so again, thank you, ladies. Okay, Mark, is there any business arising from the previous meeting? Nope, seeing none. Then we'll go on to staff reports. And we'll start with the first one is Carrie's report. Is the, where did that go? Yeah. The attachments here or someplace. I'll find it here, Carrie. We have the, yeah, we're, there it is. There we are. Okay, thank you very much, ladies. Then we'll be back to you. So Carrie's report, and the first one in the report is the vouchers. So we have voucher number 25, 2012. And I'm taking this, Carrie, might be close to being the last one, but not necessarily. Yeah. Okay, we'll go through the vouchers in the normal fashion, starting with page 1. Don?
So I'd just like to start. I have 3 invoices of the vouchers. My company does, and I just want to point that out. And if anyone has any questions about them, they can ask me later today.
Tonight, as we go forward. Okay, thanks for that declaration. That's just council, that's his reimbursement of expenses. That's all that one is, the first one. I think there's a couple more on here. Okay. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Don.
Yeah, he's working it well, Don. Yeah, you're right. It is this last couple of months. It has been increased the maintenance cost, but we have a number of calls where they're coming in with street lights out. So and there's Christmas lights mixed in there too that he's in Ayton and Newstead that he's taken up and down. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Page 6, page 7. Sorry, that was 7, 8, page 9. Councillor Lawrence, Carol?
This is going to be corrected, but I called Carrie on this because the Genevar under Water Newstead and Sewer Newstead has been charged to the water and sewer, but it's going to be corrected. That's a charge that the subdivider or the developer will have to pay, not the users. So it'll come off the users. Yeah.
Very good. So page 10. Councilor Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ken, this is another one to you. On 10, Water's Edge Environmental SOL for the South Saugeen. Well, that's what it says. That's what it says, SOL. Don't anybody read anything into that.
Short form for solutions.
Solutions, that's very good. South Saugeen River, fall site inspection, $4,298. It's regarding the construction on the river, I understand that. What do we get for $4,300? And how long will this be going on?
We get a report, a detailed report. They have asked for a reduction in maybe every other year to do it now, so we're hoping that the ministry will have a look at it, because things are fairly stable there now, so we're hoping that we can reduce this back.
So we've asked for the reduction, or?
It was included in the report. Yeah, I asked Jennifer to put that in. So.
Okay, good, thank you. We're addressing it, good.
And what you're saying, Ken, is we've asked for 100% reduction?
I think it's more gradual than that. It's every other year and see what happens, and maybe we can reduce it further if everything stays the same.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Don, Councillor Marshall?
Is this a 2-page report or a 20-page report, or?
It'll be at least 20, Don. I can give you a copy. If you wish to read it.
I'd like to read it.
Okay. I have one in the office.
We can scan it. I was going to suggest maybe the best thing, we've got inundated with paper here tonight, maybe we just scan it and send it out to all council. Yep. Thanks, Ken. Now you've really got me lost. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and I think that's it. Okay, and then we have voucher number 1 of 2013. We'll go through it the same way. Page 1. Don, Councillor Marshall.
So Ken, I guess the self-chlorinating water, putting that in, does that mean that the water here will now be drinkable?
I believe that's a water softener, Don.
It's a softener, and it is taking some of the iron bacteria also out of, we had an iron problem with our water. So yeah, it's more of a water softening unit as opposed to like a water treatment for drinking water. It's more of a water softening unit, but dealing with that.
And just to clarify that, the water's not bad enough that you can't drink it here. You can definitely drink the water here. It's just that it's not treated to Ministry of Environment's urban standards. Thank you. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. That's going to be getting close to being it. Ken, and I missed it there and going through and looking for everybody else. There was one question I had. I'm not sure whether it was on this one or on the last voucher list. We showed a number of drops of salt that we have put into our depots. That works out to about $57, $58, $59 a ton. Is that delivery? Is that our delivered in price, or is delivery on top of that, which would add another couple of bucks?
No, the delivery's on top of the $59.10 per ton. It's $9 a ton for delivery.
$9. Okay, so we're looking delivered in 68 bucks. Okay, yeah, and that is from Godrich. Have we got any? Have we ever needed to or felt it necessary to price from the county?
We did get in 2011. We got it all from through Harold Sutherland when the tornado went through Godrich. We, of course, the salt mines are closed, so we had to get all the salt from the Owen Sound distribution area there.
Okay, so we've gone back to our original source and the better pricing. Very good, thank you. Any other questions on the vouchers? Then I do have a motion moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by David Mollison. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 25, 2012 and voucher number 1, 2013 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $397,029.07 and $245,153.69 respectively. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Declare that carried. Okay, Mark. Exit back out of here. And Carrie, your next report is on the, thankfully that Impact has got back to us, or government has got back to us quickly on our municipal facilities, capital facilities bylaw that, oh that's right, it's 2 years old now, or close to 3 years old. They've finally come back with their comments, Impact, and I know that they've been doing a tremendous lot of work on the reassessment, so that took precedence obviously. And this is just their comments and any problems, foreseeable problems that you can see from administration on accepting what they want to delete from our bylaw?
Yeah, no, it's their legal department has just technically the way the regulations are worded, we don't have that flexibility in there, so we need to remove it. If they cease to operate as the club that they're, or the gallery, whichever it is, from that day forward, then the exemption would be lost. Is basically, council doesn't have the ability to wait it out while it's vacant, kind of thing. So it's just sort of dealing with that to the letter of the legislation. So.
Okay. Don, go ahead.
Yes, I'm probably wrong here, but the bylaws that are at the end of the program, do they not have these two clauses in there?
They're removing those?
But we're removing them out of the ones that are in there now. The ones that we see in our...
Yeah, we're amending the original bylaw to delete section 7 and 8. Okay. 7 and 8, I believe, are reproduced there.
Yes.
Reference of which clauses are being deleted.
Okay. That's why we have lawyers, to make business for more lawyers. Okay. There's nothing else with that. We will have those coming forward in our in our bylaws, and those will be amended. That will be the amending part. And the other part is our mileage rate on a quarterly basis. We're matched with the county, done on a quarterly basis on the southwest or southern Ontario average. And there's a formula that Kevin Wepler uses at the county to go forward with this. And just for information of what it's going to be going forward, which is 47.5 cents for the next quarter. Okay. And the next, there's another piece of information in there, kind of specific to the fire chief's report that will be coming up after Ken's report. So that one's just there. The last piece is just there for information purposes on what's in those reserves. Okay. Any other questions, Carrie, or any questions for Carrie from council? Here's just one of a curious sense. The ACMTO, I believe it is, memberships. We had 2 memberships that were at $400 and some odd, and Carrie's was at $389. Is there just any reason for that? There's a youth discount. Okay, I'll accept that one, Mark, from you. I'm not sure Christine's going to, but I'll accept that one from you. I'll just leave that with you. It was in the vouchers, and I didn't think about it until right now, and I was kind of looking at the 3. There was something there that yours was slightly different than Mark's and Christine's. Carrie.
I know I used to, before I took the treasurer position, I was an associate member because I didn't hold a certain position. So maybe it has never been updated on their records.
Okay, so we won't ask any questions. Strike that from the record, that question. Very good. Yeah. All right. Okay. Very good. All right. No other questions of Carrie. Moving on then to, infrastructure and Ken's report. And the first one, Ken, is on the Guardian Bridge proposal, which we went out on a single source. We're investigating work on the on Normanby Bridge on concession 2, WGR. And this was in the budget, and I believe we have a 50% capital. Do you want to explain or anything else to that, or any questions on Ken of this bridge? John, Councillor Eccles first.
We're within about $5,000 of this, but there's no. We'll have to put gravel up to the thing, and there's a little bit of work that'll have to be done on top of this. Is there?
Yes, there's probably $5,000 worth of work that we'll have to do, John. It's minor, but it's we should be very close to the 200,000.
To what our estimate was to start with. Very good. Carol, Councillor Lawrence.
Is this a single lane bridge or a 2-lane bridge?
It'll be a wider single lane. It's about 18 feet 6 inches, I believe.
It's still not a 2-lane bridge. So why would we be doing that in this day and age, putting in a single lane bridge?
With the limited amount of traffic on that road, we felt that it would handle all the farm equipment, which is generally causing a problem with the narrow bridges, but up to 18 foot 6 inches should, I would think, even with today's larger equipment, handle most of the farm equipment going through there. So.
But there will be cars, will there not, on that, or buses? Like I know, like the county, they're in the business of taking out their single lane bridges. Like that one on the Ayton Road there, and I just wondered why we would only put in single lane. There's always that liability issue if somebody does have an accident there.
It's very limited traffic, Carol, on that road. So I would say less than 100 cars a day.
I think, and the other, if I could, knowing the bridge, there would have to be a fair bit to make it a double lane bridge. The cost then would probably more than double on the approaches because it gets narrow as it comes down into that river. It does narrow, and for that we would have to do a fair bit of road upgrading as well too. A single lane, a widened single lane will certainly, I think, accommodate the traffic that goes through there from agricultural through to any of the, and it's not in a spot where a lot of traffic is going to be in the middle of a concession where traffic would be fully up to speed. It's fairly close to that, to a corner. So the ability coming off, we have a number of those. One that I can think of in Normanby, just on the 18th concession, is a single lane, but because it's right at the corner, I probably have to stop there 3 times a week to let somebody come down the hill. And I guess if anything, it's traffic calming measures as well too.
We will, I assume, then be properly signing it and putting up a yield. You know, somebody has the right of way each way.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions for Ken before I introduce the motion on the bridge? Okay, seeing none, then it is motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey Council accepts the quote from Guardian Bridge to replace the bridge at Lot 63, Concession 23 WGR, Normanby, with a new prefabricated bridge deck and 2 prefabricated abutments as per design build proposal at a cost of $194,759 plus applicable taxes. Is there any questions or comments on the motion? Don, Councillor Marshall.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. It's looking at new technology. The only concern I have is that I believe we should be doing a review study of our bridges in the next year or so, and picking out bridges that we possibly won't be replacing in the next 20 years. We'll be closing, maybe closing some roads, and planning that evolution to that date. Putting these bridges on priorities, number 1, being ready to apply for provincial and federal grants that come out, and have them in some sort of an order.
And I think, Ken, we've got the framework around that now. If you want to elaborate any?
Yes, we just had a bridge study completed here in the last month, and it prioritizes the bridges that will require replacement or closure. So we have started that.
I guess the study would also involve that maybe we wouldn't replace a bridge. The study would read if we didn't want to replace that bridge, if it could be closed because there is 2 alternative routes for people to get to a major road. That study would involve that.
No, the bridge study we have is strictly for rehabbing the bridge or replacing it. There's nothing to do with traffic control.
And I think I know where you're coming. That'll give us an idea of what bridges are, and then be council and or transportation master plan study of West Grey of, you know, just as you said, if there's 3 cars a day, do we need to spend $500,000 or $600,000 on it if there's alternate routes today? as somebody said the other to me a little while ago, the road structure, bridge structure in most of Grey County was built around horse and buggy transportation. And well, if you look in some parts of West Grey and Grey County, we're going back to horse and buggy with the Mennonite population that is getting in, but that's what it was designed for, and we've moved beyond that with automobiles. So maybe something we seriously got to look at. Don, I agree with you. Okay. All right. Any other questions on the motion? Then I will call all those in favor of the motion as presented. Any opposed? Declare that carried. Okay. The next one report, Ken, is on entrance permit fees for. Comes from the turbine subcommittee. And do you want to speak on this or start the discussion? Go ahead, Ken.
Yes, at the subcommittee meeting we held last week, we actually had 2 meetings. This did come up about increasing the entrance permits for wind turbine entrances, and the committee wished to bring forward to council to see if we could amend the bylaw to increase the fees for wind turbines.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Any further discussion on this? Bev? You want to turn your mic on, Bev, or get Carol to operate it?
This has been done in a number of other municipalities that are in the same predicament that we are. Grey Highlands has, Erin Elderslie has, and I believe Saugeen Shores has increased their entrance permits. We did have a discussion about whether it should be for wind turbines or whether it should be for an industrial permit, but the other municipalities have specified that it is for wind turbines. So that's what the committee came up with, recommendation.
And do we have any suggestions what the committee is suggesting, or
$5,000.
Okay. John? Deputy Mayor Bell?
We don't have anything here to say what these other ones are. Do you have any idea what
$5,000.
Grey Highlands and Erin Elderslie are the same? Okay.
This was discussed at the multi-municipal meeting that I attend, and it seems to be a fairly standard price for entrance permits for wind turbines.
John? Councillor Eccles?
Have any of these bylaws been tested in court? Because I can't, my feelings about wind turbines aside, I can't see how we can prejudice one organization or company against another.
Ms. Cutting, your microphone's still on. Do you want to speak?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, she turned her microphone off. I take it that she's not willing to speak on this. I know that some of the building permit fees that are specific to wind turbines are being challenged. One specifically, I believe, in the municipality of Blue Water in Huron County. Around the entrance permits, I'm not aware of those being challenged at this point in time. But good point. Mr. Rapke.
Do we know what the standard fee is now, Bev? If we didn't institute this, or does anyone know, is it $600?
There.
But out of that, just to clarify, $600, $400 refunded if everything is in agreement with our public works.
And that was for all, regardless of use. Was that right? I think, Ken.
Councillor Cunningham.
There is some justification for that particular fee for this type of project, and the justification that I've heard at that particular meeting is there is not a huge tax base picked up by the municipality on wind turbines because of the small footprint that they have. And yet there is quite a cost to roads and different infrastructures that are being used specifically for wind turbines. And so it's a bit of a way to, it's a one-time cost, but it's a bit of a way to recoup a little bit of the money that will inevitably cost us with some repairs or something that will happen over the course of 2 years worth of project construction by the other municipalities also.
Okay, thanks, Bev. John, Councillor Eccles.
So if we go with the wording of wind turbine, the two that are up the way up here in Glenelg that are already existing, the smaller ones, they would be captured in that, and then we would be actually penalizing people that are trying to put green power on their own farms.
They charge because they've already got the turbines on.
But if someone wanted to put one up on their farm right now and it was a wind turbine, we would be penalizing them to put a $5,000 entrance fee in just to put up a wind turbine.
If you put up industrial wind turbines, there's a difference there.
That's my point.
So, that's what I said, industrial wind turbine fee.
And I guess then we'd have to come up with a definition of an industrial wind turbine.
Over a certain height.
There's certain megawatt, yeah, generation capacity. Deputy Mayor Bell, John?
No, thank you. That was my point, and that's the point I was going to make. It would have to be over a certain megawatt of power because these could be perceived as being industrial also because they do charge for the power going out onto the grid. So where you want to cut that off, you're going to have a division in there somewhere.
Okay. Any other, Councillor Marshall, Don?
I guess I'd like to echo Councillor Eccles' comments there about treating everybody the same. And I can see that if our roads are going to be beaten up because the turbines are coming in, we should be targeting that through fees for that issue, not try and backdoor them with a driveway permit fee. A gravel pit company would tax our roads a lot harder than an industrial turbine would. You can open a hornet's nest of who we're going to spin the roulette wheel and charge them whatever for a driveway permit, and it just doesn't seem right.
Councillor Rapke, Mark?
I wonder if the approach might be just even expanding a little more just to look at industrial entrance permits, because they probably have some different requirements than a residential driveway permit would, and maybe it would be worthwhile reviewing that to see if there's actually a difference in cost or requirements and looking at it that way. I don't know if 5,000 is the right number, but it does seem disproportionate that a residential homeowner is paying the same driveway permit fee as an industrial or commercial operation for that matter. So maybe that's a way that we could look at it rather than specifically targeting wind turbines.
Just before I get to you, Bev, one difference with gravel pits, and that's the largest industrial user that we have in West Grey on some of our back roads. What we have done with them is they have to upgrade the road from where their entrance is. We've also asked them to make acceleration or widened entrances at their cost, and to upgrade that road surface out to either a county road or an MTO highway, which is built to or for that industrial standard. So maybe instead of the permit, is that something that the group has looked at or thought about? Through a road use agreement. Taking a look at the two members, I take it not. Bev?
That is one of the options that the group is looking at. We have quite a list of things that we are considering at this point, but this particular one, being that it's already been done, maybe I would suggest that the CAO request a copy of the Grey Highlands, for example, entrance permit fees for industrial wind turbines, and maybe we could look at it at the Committee of the Whole. Then we'd have a copy in front of us as to see how they worded it, etc. I just haven't had a chance to get it and download it, but maybe if Christine could get it for us, we could look at it on Monday.
And or Mark may have access to that already. Okay, see if we can, if we can get that for Monday. The earliest it's going to be would be on the February 4th council meeting before we can get it anyways, but it would be best.
We could discuss it on the 28th, maybe at the Committee of the Whole, we could bring it forward.
And there is some notice of requirements on changing those fees as well too. So anyways, I think we do need some more information. And the other aspect is maybe getting into a road use agreement more so as well too. John?
No, and I was going to bring that, I'm sure Ken's thought about that also, recognizing where some of these are. There's a couple of roads that I can think of right now in Glenelg, Ken, that won't support a lot of great big heavy tractor trailer traffic. And I think that's paramount that we should look at that and see what we can do about that. And I'm specifically thinking about the east end of concession 4.
Go ahead, Ken. Yes, we have talked about that at the subcommittee table, and I believe it is on one of the conditions that they come up with, that the roads be upgraded to a standard, that a municipal standard, yeah, and hard topped.
Two or 2.5 inches of HL4.
Some places we have asked for 4 inches at gravel pits. So.
Yes. Thanks for correcting me. Okay. Look for some of that information then coming forward. Good discussion on that. Great points. We'll see what we can come up with at Committee of the Whole. And in the meantime, if anybody else can find through our municipal network of how other municipalities are making requests through their road use agreements, would be good to be able to bring back to Committee of the Whole next Monday. Okay, anything else, Ken?
No. No, I don't. Not, but really, the boards are certainly working in the upper dam this last 3 or 4 days. There is definitely a slush problem coming down Saugeen River towards Durham, but the boards have doing the job and backed the ice back up into the floodplain to Glenelg there. So.
Carol, Councillor Lawrence.
I have a question of Ken. I've had several people ask me, Ken, if we're picking up Christmas trees this year. Did we not do it, or are we still going to do it, or?
That went through the Waste Management Environmental Committee when we were reviewing the contract for waste management, and it was decided that we'd leave that out. So.
But our own men aren't picking them up either?
No.
Did we notify the public of that?
Just by word of mouth, I believe. I know there has been a number of them taken to the landfill site.
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't know that, though. They've had several inquiries about it. So I'm not sure we made it public. Is there some reason we can't do it ourselves? It's always has been done.
It was decided by the Waste Management Environmental Committee not to do it in 2013. So.
Not even with our own forces.
No.
Maybe we need to revisit that for next year, just to have a discussion around it. In the summertime.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. The one thing about it is that there still is, the landfill is open Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Yep, okay. Okay. Anything, any other questions for Ken at this point in time? Just the way the weather looks, thankfully, outside the window there, Ken. The boys may be up early tomorrow morning doing some road maintenance work with snow removal. I haven't had a lot of experience yet this year, but it's going to be testing them tomorrow. Okay, thanks very much, Ken. Okay, moving along. Mr. Schwartz, you have our fire chief is with us tonight with station chief from Newstead, Mr. Hilgendorf. Kevin, welcome. And Chief, I'll turn it over to you. What do you want to discuss with us tonight?
He's still on. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He can cut you off.
Okay, he's got the power. All right. Anyways, I imagine everybody's read the report by now. So we made an attempt at this last year, and we had a resolution to attempt to purchase a used pumper out of Owen Sound. We didn't get that privilege. It went to another company. Just over the Christmas holidays, it was brought to my attention a truck down in Listowel. I went down and looked at the truck and put it through its paces, and it's I would say it's 3 times the truck that the Owen Sound one was. So I guess the question is, do you want to make that attempt this year to get them a more up-to-date piece of equipment?
Any questions for the chief on the report or thoughts? Deputy Mayor Bell, John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Phil, good report. You've got pictures there and everything else. That looks good. 2 little things. First of all, is it compatible with what we have in the fleet now? And I'm just thinking about all those times where maybe it might have to join another force and go there. Can 2 or 3 or 4 guys jump into this truck and know exactly what they're doing instead of just one?
Yes, it's 100% compatible. It's all the same fittings. It's closer to that truck in Durham. If you were to take the ladder off that truck in Durham, it's pretty much identical to that truck without the ladder on it.
Okay, and I guess supposing we were to think about purchasing this, I'm looking at the reserves and what the transfer to reserves were, so maybe you could walk us through as to how you wish to pay for this if that was to ever come about.
There's 2 ways we can do this. We can take it out of the reserves, or I was talking to Kevin and he's willing to forfeit the paving at the front of the fire hall this year and put that money towards it, taking the balance out of the truck reserve.
There were certain members around the council who thought that was already forfeited.
The paving?
How much was that, Phil, the paving? I can't recall that figure right now.
5,000.
Sorry, how many?
I believe it was around 16,000. I think I had in there. I don't have my budget with me. She'll bring it up here.
Was that for all of it, or is the stuff just the fronts now?
That was just from the front, from about 5 feet on each side, and just past on the south side, past the man entrance door, to try to keep the sand out. There's a lot of sand coming off the parking lot.
Okay, and I didn't think it was that much, but okay. So that, okay, so for clear math then, transfer to reserve, you're thinking the 10 plus the 5, you'd have 15. But this truck's gonna cost at least twice that much, or about twice that much, is what you.
I think it'll likely be advertised for 20, but if they go into a bidding it as a sealed bid, I'd be willing to go up to 30 on it. It's 3 times the truck Dylan Salmon was.
So where's the other 15 coming from?
Truck reserve.
So using the total truck reserve and not just the Newstead truck reserve.
Total truck reserve.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a handle on this.
Mark, Councillor Repke?
If we use the total truck reserve, did you have any other truck purchases coming up in the next couple of years?
The only thing we're looking at was the refurbishing of that truck for Ayton. But we had, we put money aside for that. And I'm not so sure, I'm still giving this some thought. I think what we might do is do what we did in Newstead and go online to a resale truck company for a used rescue. I think we'd be further ahead than refurbishing the one at the arena. I'm giving that some serious thought now. The fire chief's website this week has 3 different rescue trucks on there, which are newer than what we're working with down there. Likely for the same price it's going to cost to refurbish that, but that wasn't until 2014. The next pumper has to be a new one, and it'll be 2015, 2016, and it'll be for the Ayton station.
Okay.
Because their ULC rating will be up then.
Okay. And how much do we set aside for that now, Carrie? Do you remember on a yearly basis?
With the exception of this year, we were doing 30,000 previously, 10,000 from each station. This year we left 13,000 in the Ayton budget for expense and 22 transferred to reserve for a total of the 35. So we've got 35, 35 and 40 in for capital on those 3 stations, but we had previous to that been doing 30 a year.
Okay, any other questions? Guess if I could, in the bylaws coming up tonight, Mark, or Carrie, oh, Carrie's got a battery operating. I believe one of the bylaws is passing our budget. How do we, are we looking to amend this budget beforehand? Oh, sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
I would almost recommend in waiting to see if we get the tender or not. You're not looking at funding it from alternate or additional levy, or if you're not, it's not that we need to change the bottom line, just pull from reserve and you use what capital expense is there. If it's 10,000 from the doing paving, doing this expense, and then pulling the rest from reserve. But do that as an amendment or a resolution if you get the last time we weren't successful when we put to tender, so we could amend it now and be for naught and have to change it back to reallocate it to another project.
Any other questions? Deputy Mayor Bell, John.
Just one more, a couple little ones, Phil. How many hours are on this thing? Miles? What do you have? Operating hours on a pumper?
Yeah, pumper, the operating hours are usually high because it sits for hours and pumps. The mileage is low. I don't have the figures with me right now. I did look at it down there and it's comparable to the truck we have sitting in Durham for travel hours. The pumping hours, I can't even tell you what they were. I looked at it, but I failed to write it down. They're fairly high, but I mean, it's all diesel, and a truck in Durham, I couldn't even tell you what it's sitting at right now, but it'll be about the same, because they're both the same age.
Okay, yeah, and the math makes sense to a certain extent. This truck would be in excess of $250,000 new.
Definitely, that's about a $350,000 truck sitting there.
Okay.
If it was brand new today, and it's all aluminum, including the frame.
So if we were to say purchase this truck, can you use parts, can you use that chassis again? Probably not, but you can use the body then?
I don't know if you go that far to refurbish that body. By the time you take it off, put it on new framework and all that,
Okay.
and redo it 10 years from now, 10 years from now, it'll be a 30-year-old truck.
So I realized that, and that was my next point. This is a 20-year-old truck, but
yeah, it's 20 year. It can't be plated again for ULC, but it's refurbishable. You should be able to get another 10 years out of it if you classify it as a second line pumper, but it can be used as a front line pumper. They have the rating on their ULC rating is on the tanker they have there now, so that takes them through till 2028.
so in 10 years, what's this thing worth? $10,000?
In 10 years, yeah, it'd be hopefully around 10.
Whatever recycled aluminum is worth at that point in time.
So for 10 years, yeah, so for 10 years, going a step further, for 10 years, it could cost you $2,000 a year.
Yes, exactly.
Well, plus maintenance.
Yep, plus the maintenance.
Yep, thank you.
Councillor Molson, Dave.
Yeah, Your Worship, I have seen the truck. I looked at it very carefully before it came on the market, and it is an excellent buy. I mean, I jokingly said to Phil that I should buy it and then sell it to Wes Gray to profit, but he thought there might be a bit of conflict in there. But it is an excellent truck. It would be well worth, even if we had to go up to 30 for it. Is that an 8-man cab?
Yes, it's an 8-man cab.
Yeah. Right now, you can only transport 2 in the pumper, right? And then how many in the
2 in the
rest?
pumper, 2 in the tanker, and then 6 in the rescue.
6, so that's a maximum of 10.
10.
And the 12 or 14 show up, the others have to take their own vehicle.
Yep. Today we had 2 calls back to back, and we had guys driving their own vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay. What does Councillor Marshall done?
So this is replacing the pumper truck?
Yeah, this is replacing their present pumper truck, which is 87.
I thought I was told the pumper trucks can only be 20 years old or newer.
To have a ULC rating, yes. If you're depending on a ULC rating, then this truck wouldn't be suitable. But we have a ULC rating on the tanker, because it has a 840 gallon a minute pump on it. Anything below 500 gallons a minute we can't certify. So it was certified 3 years ago when we bought it, and it'll expire in 2028. But for the next 10 years, this would be an ideal pumper to put into that station.
But we've already got a pumper there.
We have a pumper there which has a 625 pump on it. It's too small, you can't relay pump with it. It has a gasoline engine, and when it breaks down it takes weeks, sometimes months to get parts, because they don't make parts for that truck anymore. Took us the better part of almost 6 months to find a fuel module for it. We actually found one in Owen Sound of all places. We needed a fitting for the piece for the master cylinder for the brakes. It's got juice brakes on it, and it came out of Tennessee, and it took us about 6 weeks to find. So, and right now it's sitting out. It's going to be safety tomorrow. Today it's been running rough, so it looks like it's going to need a tune-up again, and it just had a tune-up a little over a year ago.
So this is the new. This isn't the new one we just bought for down there.
No, the one that I want to replace was bought in '88. It's an '87. It's a 2-man cab, 625 pump. One we just bought down there in 2008 was a pumper tanker.
And it's got the 1050 pump on it.
No, it has an 840 on it.
840. And is it certified?
It's a certified pump, yes, but it's used as a tanker. It's classified as a tanker, but it can be used as a pumper. But at any working fire, they have to start it with 2 trucks. You need a pumper and a tanker. And the present pumper they have is a small pump on it. It's only 625 gallons a minute. So it cannot relay to any of our other trucks. And if any of our other trucks relay to it, they'll blow the pump out of it.
Councillor Cunning, Beth?
Well, I think since this council supported the purchase of the truck in Owen Sound for $20,000, and this is seems to be a far better truck, I think we should go ahead and allow the chief to keep an eye out on the specs, etc., for this particular truck coming up, and see what happens with it. He's not sure yet quite how it's going to work, right? So, but I think we should authorize him to go to the 30,000 if it's a tender bid, and let's go from there.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Molson?
I'll second that.
Opposed? In our capital replacement forecast and whatnot, where was this on the replacing this pumper on the list? Yes, that's one we're talking about.
Sorry. Just thinking here what we had on the list in front of me. The Dayton truck was 2016. This truck actually wasn't even on the list. The idea was hopefully in 2016 or even 17, we'd take the Dayton truck and send it over there as a backup pumper, or to replace the present one they have. That's, you know, might be 5 to 6 years before you get a pumper into Dayton. So this is, and I don't think we have time to wait.
Go ahead before I introduce the motion.
Thank you.
John,
So this truck would replace the one that's there. The other one would be sold. Is that correct? It'd be gone. It'd be gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not worth a lot of money.
No.
Even if it was repainted and sold to Barrett Jackson? So that's about the timeline we're figuring here. Don?
When's the rebuild on the ladder truck happening?
The refurbish on it, I'm hoping to do it about 2020. And I'm looking at, well, from 100 to maybe 125,000 to do what I have to do. Right now, all it really needs is a pump and a new paint job. And then you can get another 15 to 20 years out of it. But definitely a new pump in that truck when it's time. That pump's been rebuilt a couple of times now, and it still has some issues.
Any other questions on this then? I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting and seconded by David Mollison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby authorizes the West Grey Fire Chief to bid on the purchase of a 1992 pumper from North Perth Listowel Fire Department at a maximum bid amount of $30,000, and if successful, said purchase to be funded from the fire truck reserve. Any questions, comments on the motion? Don?
I guess announcing that maximum result, I guess there's no dickering gonna happen.
We can probably dicker, but you're correct. North Perth may not be coming down much. We'll see how fast Phil moves in comparison to how fast the media can get it out. Any other questions or comments on the motion? If there is anything, that's one of the drawbacks with being very transparent and open, Councillor Marshall. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Could I make just a small suggestion to the fire chief that if in the future you're thinking of any of these coming out and whatnot, that we'll put that when we're doing budget in a from a transfer from reserves before we get this far down in budget?
Yes, Mr. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anything else for the fire chief while we have him here? Okay. Thank you very much, Fire Chief Schwartz, Deputy Chief Doc. Thanks for coming. I believe we're down then to bylaws, and I don't know whether it's because of the cameras or whatnot. We usually have one or two, and I believe we have about 10 this evening. So, Mark, we're handing those resolutions out to be able to get the bylaws passed. I'll just wait for a few minutes so those can get the appropriate signatures on them. Okay, we'll start into the bylaws, the first and second and third reading of the said bylaws this evening. The first bylaw we have is a bylaw to appoint officials and citizens to various committees. I have it moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2, 2013, being a bylaw to appoint officials and citizens to various committees, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this? And Deputy Mayor Bell.
Well, I just have one question. Maybe Councillor Lawrence can help me out with this. There's a tremendous amount of people on the Newstead Recreation Advisory Committee. Are those people all active, or is there names on there that?
No, for the most part, when it comes to the craft show and those sorts of things, yes.
Okay. Yeah, the advisory committee here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and there's a split in there. There's the advisory committee is the first two lines, I believe, Carol, and then the last half dozen lines in there are the basically the volunteer subcommittee.
Okay.
The committee structure is those first 7 or 8 names that are there. The other ones are just volunteer for insurance purposes at the craft show and fun day and other activities that they have down there. Okay. Okay, any other thoughts or comments there? All right, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. All right, thank you, Mark. Bylaw number 3 is a bylaw to amend fees and charges. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that bylaw number 3, 2013, being a bylaw to allow, being a bylaw to further amend. Just had too many twos in there. Being a bylaw to further amend bylaw number 9, 2012, being a bylaw to establish fees and charges for certain services provided by the municipality of West Grey, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Yeah. And this one specifically is the ice rental rates at the Normanby Arena, bringing them more into line with our other facilities.
That does bring it in line, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions on the bylaw? Resolution? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Bylaw number 4 is to provide the interim tax levies for 2013. I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 4, 2013, being a bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for the year 2013 for the municipality of West Grey, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. This one doesn't deal with the tax levy for 2013. It's just the interim for our March and May, or February and May billings for tax, which is further to the 2012. Any questions on the motion? I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Whoops, one too many. Bylaw number 5 is basically establishing as a bylaw to borrow money or establish a line of credit for the municipality. Moved by Bev Cutting and seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that bylaw number 5, 2013, being a bylaw authorizing the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Just to be clear, this is an annual bylaw that we have to put into place, basically to set a line of credit, at which time right now there is 0 on our line, and I don't believe we've been in a borrowing position for a number of years on that line of credit, but to have it there. Any other questions or comments on the bylaw? On the motion, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Number 6 was one that was further discussed earlier in the meeting. This is the bylaw to amend our capital facilities agreement with the Durham Art Gallery. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that bylaw number 6, 2013, being a bylaw to enter into a municipal capital facilities agreement on the premises owned and operated by the Durham Art Gallery, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. The next one is very similar, only this one dealing with the Durham Curling Club. I have a motion moved by David Mollison and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that bylaw number 7, 2013, being a bylaw to enter into a municipal capital facility agreement on the premises owned and operated by the Durham Curling Club, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Now, bylaw number 8.
Just as a side note, Mr. Mayor, if I might, with the curling club, good news for organizations in the municipality. They did inform me on Saturday that they have a 10% raise in their membership this year over last. So curling club is doing well.
Very good. The next one is has been a bylaw recommended by the Planning Committee to rezone property in Glenelg, the Klondike Trail Groomers, Inc. and Ms. Robertson. Sorry. So I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 8, 2013, being a bylaw to rezone Part Lot 25, Concession 8, RP 16R7067, Part 1, former Township of Glenelg, Klondike Trail Groomers, Inc., and Robertson, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Number 9 is getting into a bylaw to adopt the estimates of revenue and expenditures for 2013. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by David Mollison. Be it resolved that bylaw number 9, 2013, being a bylaw to adopt the expenditures, a bylaw to adopt the estimates of revenue and expenditures for the year 2013, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, and sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? Councillor Marshall. Don?
Number 8 bullet there, the interest paid is 3% on the allocated reserves. Just get that straight. There's a reserve fund for the Economic Development Committee. The municipality pays 3% interest on that, or how does that work?
No. Carol?
That's monies raised outside of the levy, like the fundraising committees of the recreation committees, for instance, or that type of thing. It's not money that was raised through a levy or through our reserves or grants. Like the 3 rec committees get 3%, and I believe the cemetery, Rob, doesn't it? If there's So that's money that's come in here and is being held here, but was not raised by the municipality. That we get the use of it, so we pay 3% interest on
it. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. That's basically that bylaw is our budget. We do have, now that it's passed, there is a media release prepared here. I can give it to you, Don, but what it really comes out to with what our revenues and expenditures are this year, and in conjunction with our partners, Grey County and the school boards, West Grey will collect approximately $15.3 million. Grey County will receive 4.7, and the school boards will receive about 3.3, and they will make it a combined or the levy or the tax rate increase that for a blended rate that a taxpayer in West Grey will see is about a 1.19% tax rate increase for 2013 for West Grey residents. So we were, when we got some of the final numbers in, we were aiming for a blended rate of somewhere around, certainly below 3, and we were looking at 2, and we ended up at 1.19 for our blended tax rate for West Grey residents in 2013. And that media release will be going out tomorrow morning to our media outlets. Okay, moving on then to bylaw number 10, 2013. This one is Community Infrastructure Improvement Fund with our federal government, and this one is on the installation of an elevator we applied for and got 33% funding for this infrastructure improvement. I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that bylaw number 10, 2013, being a bylaw to enter into a Community Infrastructure Improvement Fund contribution agreement, re installation of the elevator at the Durham Arena, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Councillor Marshall. Don?
Yeah, I guess I think there's only so much money in the pot, and I don't think we should be doing 3 projects in 1 year of this magnitude. We got this one here, and a library addition, and probably a new police station. And I think that there's a limit to all of our spending, and I think we're exceeding it.
Well, we've certainly had, again, a lot of those discussions through our budget and whatnot. And I think that we've been very prudent in putting away reserves for these types of projects. This one especially was one that we did put off, realizing our how far we could stretch things when we redid the Durham Arena, the hall project, and at that point in time we said that we were stretched too much and that we would try and find as quickly as possible whether there was any sources out there. And fortunately this one has come through for us on 33% funding, which I might add supposed to be having a photo op or a press release of that on February the 1st with our MPP at the Durham Arena on this, officially giving I'm not sure whether Mr. Miller is going to give us the check, but he'll give us assurances that the check is coming for this one, Don. And I think it was discussed very much at budget, and council feels at this point in time that at least these two projects can go forward, and still looking at what we may have to do with the police building as well too. Any other further questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Declare that carried. And the last bylaw is a CIIF contribution for the Durham Library, very similar to the last one, on accessibility issues at the library as well too. And I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting and seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that bylaw number 11, 2013, being a bylaw to enter into Community Infrastructure Improvement Fund contribution agreement, upgrades to accessibility at the Durham Library, be now read for a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. In this one as well, as reiterate, has the funding to complete this project is in our budget at this point, at this time, for 2013. Any other questions on the motion? Deputy Mayor Bell.
Has the land use agreement with the United Church been worked out yet? And where is that at?
It is still ongoing, but we believe that we're getting very close to, I've had discussions back and forth, and they're still very amenable. To say absolutely no, it hasn't been signed, but I think we have something in place that hopefully will be agreeable to both sides. Councillor Lawrence? Carol?
Well, I'd just like to reiterate, as I've said before, the phase one will be entirely on library land. It would not be on any of the land to the north.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mark, Councillor Rapke.
Yeah, I'll just follow up on Councillor Marshall's point earlier that although I support making the library accessible, $450,000 to do that seems excessive to me.
Any other comments? Okay, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, that's it for bylaws, Mark. New business. Councillor Cunning, Bev?
Yes.
Yeah.
At the multi-municipal wind turbine committee that I am a member of, there is a request for $500 from each of the 12 municipalities. And that is to pay for a secretary. The secretary has been donating her time from Erin Eldersley, but due to some staffing issues where they have lost a couple of staff, she has had to take on extra responsibilities there. And so we would like to put in $500 for each municipality to pay for approximately 20 hours a month worth of time. I believe Mark has a resolution there. I did speak to Carrie. Carrie was aware of this and said it's $500. It would probably just come out of the, where did she say, Mark, you know? Corporate or donations type thing, something like that. Yes.
Okay, that would be you're looking at that new business and wanting that as a direct motion, or
Yes.
do you want that?
Direct motion.
And that's a direct motion, okay. Yeah, if we've got it under new business, is there any other discussion on it at this point in time? Doesn't sound like it. Eric's, well, hold on, don't we do? Deputy Mayor Bell, John.
Question, Councillor Cunning, if they don't get the 12 municipalities on side and each donates the same amount, what happens then?
But who doesn't donate will not be part of the group. Because it's taking a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of photocopying, a lot of emailing to keep everybody informed as to what's going on. So they're considering it to be, if a council will not donate $500, they're considering it that it's basically not being supported by council.
Okay, and I can read into that, but if there's 12 at 500, that's 6,000. If there's only 6 want to go in it, does that mean they have to put in $1,000 each?
I don't know. I guess we'll cross that bridge. Nobody seemed to think it was going to be an issue. $500 is a fairly minimum amount of money for a year's worth of secretarial services, and to keep that group going, and to set up the meetings, and to get the guest speakers, and set up the hall, et cetera, et cetera.
And I understand that. I'm just wondering what Plan B is if this doesn't work. So okay.
I don't know. We haven't gone to Plan B.
Okay.
Councillor Marshall, Don.
Is this an anti-turbine group, or is this are they looking at all the options?
This is a group that works together, that each municipality has its own issues with projects that are going in. At this point, it is basically keeping each municipality informed as to the progression and different ways that things are being done. For example, the last meeting we had a gentleman there who assesses the noise and vibrancy of the turbines. It's teaching us a little bit more as to how and what these turbines really can do, will do, and in the future probably will do. So it's basically a learning group, but it's a learning group where we're all in the same boat. So some are farther ahead, some are behind, but it certainly is good to have the knowledge there. Certainly the guest speakers are extremely informative, and I've learned an awful lot. But last meeting, they spent about an hour on solar panels. So it's not just wind turbines, but it is basically the groups have come together because they're all in the same boat up here.
Has all the speakers been anti-turbine speakers?
3 meetings, because they've only been put on it 3 meetings ago. I'm not sure that they're anti-turbines, some of the speakers. I just think that some of the positioning of the turbines is where some of the issues are. I don't think a lot of people in the group are anti-turbines as such. I believe it's the placement and the proximity to residential areas. Things like that are more the issues.
Councillor Rapke, Mark?
I sit on the group that Bev sits on as well, and I think it's probably worthwhile to be a member of a group like this, because one of the things that occurred to me while we're sitting in a room with you know, the members and our staff and citizens is we're all starting from ground zero, and the people that we're that are engaging us aren't. Okay, they've got a lot of experience on how to work within the framework of the Green Energy Act and how to deliver these projects. And of course, our main objective at this point is to put together a response for the REA, and I know that Bev's brought back some ideas that other municipalities have used as well. So I think it's worthwhile being part of this. If it's $500, I don't think that's excessive, but I think it's good to be connected, because you know, we've all read the papers, and what Bev alluded to, it's not so much that people maybe are anti-turbine. What the issue really seems to be is the loss of municipal land use planning. So I think it's worthwhile to stay in there. All the municipalities are sharing pretty well the same type of issues, right? They've got the people that are near these turbines aren't supportive of them, and being on the front line, we've had this council chamber filled several times with people expressing those concerns, and unfortunately we can't do much with those apart from our RAA response. And I think that being part of this, I think overall is a good idea, so that we're learning from all the other groups.
Is there any kind of an idea that this will be an ongoing annual funding? Just trying to think, is there a deadline for this group? Bev, I know I sat on it for a short period of time, and just wondering, you know, is there a thought that this will be an ongoing, or do they see a time when they'll be able to wrap up and have a conclusion, or an end time to it?
Because I've been there.
Okay, fair enough. Yep, okay. Well, it's still in, and I mean, I guess probably your direct motion will be that it'd be $500. I guess if there was any other thing, any other request would come back to council at that point in time, anyways. Okay. That's for 2013. I guess that's the way you want to put in, Bev. Yeah, just for 2013. From what I understand, we'll see what the motion comes like. Okay, the other one under new business, there was a in our package, there was a South Bruce Grey Youth Literacy Council. There was a letter from was that today? Was today for and I believe Ms. Jones was going to speak to it here tonight, but she just wanted to have January 27th proclamation that Canada's Family Literacy Day, and that the municipality of West Grey support that. And I believe Mark has it here. Yeah. So I just wanted to pull that from our correspondence, miscellaneous correspondence, and ask if council would endorse January 27th as Canada's Literacy Day. Okay. Any other things from new business? Don, Councillor Marshall.
Yeah, I would like to see this council have a real good discussion on the nuclear repository. They've already jumped to the third step, and I think that we should be bringing in a resolution or a motion saying that we are not happy with our neighbors being host to a nuclear repository next door.
Any thoughts on that? I guess I believe that there's five municipalities in Bruce County that are entering into that phase 3. And I think that phase 3 is around some of the planning discussion, thought process. And I guess what Councillor Marshall was saying, that we have a discussion or be on an agenda. I'm not certain around council is maybe A, suggesting committee of the whole, or B, planning agenda. Mark, one of those two. But 1, 2, yeah, 3 out of those 5 have boundaries with West Grey. Councillor Lawrence.
Well, I'd certainly want a lot more information than I have right now, whether to say I'm happy about it or not happy about it. I mean, just to say we're not happy because they're investigating it, why are we not happy? We need to know the details. I mean, we can't just come up with a statement like that to our neighbors. We certainly have to have a lot more information and discussion, and then as a council, decide whether that was our position or not.
I wondered if we could even get a rudimentary presentation or a presentation from, what is it, the nuclear? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Yes. The Nuclear Waste Management Corporation, NWMO. Yeah. And maybe bring them in with, you know, that idea of our concerns being this close to our borders. Don, we'll see if we can either get them here as a delegation, or B, see if we can get a follow-up of information from their side and a follow-up of information from South Bruce, Brockton, and Aaron Eldersley on our neighboring communities. Good thought. Okay. Good. Anything else under new business? Christine.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to let Council know that on Friday, which was the deadline for submitting a request for a municipal delegation at Good Roads Roma Conference, we did submit 2 requests dealing with our concerns with NextEra's removal of an eagle's nest in Haldeman County. So this came as a result of discussion at our wind turbine subcommittee, and in light of the fact that the deadline was Friday, we submitted the requests and were to bring this forward to Council to provide information. And if there was any issue with that, the item could be withdrawn. If there was no issue with the submission, then it would stand. And I did receive communication from Ministry of the Environment that the issue would be forwarded on to Natural Resources. We submitted 2 requests, one to Environment and one to M&R. So they've both now just focused with M&R.
Okay. Any concerns about that delegation request at Good Roads? Councillor Eccles. John.
Not a concern, but I don't know how a company can move a bald eagle's nest and get away with it, and I'm not even supposed to cut a field of hay if it's got a Baltimore Orioles nest in it. I don't...
Bobbling.
Bobbling. I don't see how... We're back to the prejudice thing. I don't see how they can treat one person one way and another someone else. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. Well, there's certainly a lot of information flying around out there and on the internet today, or the last number of days over that. We'll see if we can provide some. Councillor Cutting. Bev.
I also believe, Christine, you were going to draft a letter to Larry Miller about and present it here for council to look at about the eagle, about the re-entry of the eagle into this area and into Grey County, and out of that particular article that we read, and we were going to draft it to Larry Miller and have it sort of forwarded to him, and that was going to be our basis for the M&R.
One step backwards from that, at the wind turbine subcommittee meeting, there was a full discussion on the issue of the eagle's nest being removed from that particular county NextEra project. The discussion was that a letter could be written to MP Larry Miller, just with this council's position on it. The letter has not been drafted. The intent was to bring the request forward to this council to see if council would agree that a letter be written, and then we'd move forward. But at this point, we would not be drafting the letter until we had council's agreement with that.
Okay.
So can we have a discussion on that, whether we can have a letter?
Okay. Do we want a letter sent off to our MPP, Councillor Eccles? John?
Did I hear you say that you wanted the reintroduction of the bald eagle to this area?
No, it is,
Yeah.
it already, no, not that it has.
Councillor Cutting, give us your information.
It's coming back. It's been spotted in, where was it?
Well, it says the bald eagle has been making a rebound in
Yeah.
the region with sightings of the majestic bird becoming more frequent in the past few years. And in recent weeks, many people have reported seeing the bird in the Owen Sound area.
So it's not reintroducing, it's the fact that it's here, and so we're concerned. For example, you know, Six Corners on Highway 4, there is, I believe, a bald eagle's nest right there in front of the hydro station. Just if you don't take the paved road where the highway, where the, you know me and roads and directions. You don't take the paved road down to the landfill site. You take the other road that's gravel, and there's a house on the right-hand side, and there's a substation there for hydro. There's a nest right up there that I have photographed, and have photographed the bird that's with it. So it's right there. And it is a still used a mating nest. So they are in this area. Along with a number, I've been studying the migratory bird and the USA and Canada treaty for the preservation of migratory birds. By the way, that they actually broke the treaty when they took that eagle's nest down between the USA and Canada. But that's down the road, another discussion. But you'd be surprised how many migratory birds are on that species list that they should not be messing with, that we have right in this area. And ospreys and bald eagles are a couple of them. So yes, there is one nest right there. And so we would like to have a letter drafted to Larry Miller in support of the eagles and their not reintroduction, but their rebounds here, and just make it a concern to the MNR about these wind turbines coming in to this particular area.
Councillor Lawrence?
Well, I think what we discussed as well in the letter to our MP was the fact that this same company destroyed the nest in Haldeman, and our concerns are that because they're on the rebound here, that we don't want the same thing to happen, so we're being proactive, I guess. And the reason was to notify our MP is because it did break the treaty, the U.S.-Canadian treaty, which is a federal matter, not provincial.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I guess what we were looking for was council's
Endorsement or direction?
endorsement that this letter be sent.
Probably be better under, you know, we can do that as an addendum as well too, or a notice, direct motion. Councillor Marshall, Don.
I guess when that question was asked at that meeting, and the person second from the end there answered it, that there was no nest there the year they did the studies. And then the birds built the nest there the following spring. There was no birds in the nest, there was no eggs in the nest when they tore it down.
Of course not. It's the time of year.
If we were putting up an auto parts plant and a polar bear moved in and had a den out there, we'd probably move the polar bear. There's some.
I don't think so in Canada.
There's just some things happen.
The winter's not that bad yet.
Yeah, climate change, I know. But it just seems that I know it's probably bad for the bird, but.
Bev?
The entire view of this depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on. I know that you are pro-wind turbine, so it's very difficult for you to see it from my side that is anti-wind turbine. So you're probably never going to actually agree on whether a bald eagle's nest should be taken down or moved. Or to me, the point is you move the turbine. You don't disrupt something that is making a comeback in an area that has basically wiped it out through DDT, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to be extremely careful how you're viewing it. To me, it's not an option. You move the turbine. You don't destroy the nest or take down the nest.
Okay, Carol?
Well, I haven't read the treaty Bev has, but I believe it says you can't touch like a bald eagle, an egg, a nest, or any part thereof of a nest. And there's a certain buffer zone you have to stay away from. And in the case in Haldeman, they should have moved the turbine, but they cut the tree down with the nest in it. And our point is it's the same company, Nextera.
Go ahead, Beth.
It's not just, I mean, it is, that's the main factor is what they did. The point is that they were given permission by MNR on Friday night and told to take it down by Sunday afternoon. The point is that this is being pushed from the top down so hard that they're not even respecting migratory birds or different treaties that have been in place since 1918. I mean, it's just get the job done. Doesn't matter what it is, you shove it through. And to me, the whole thing is just, not only have we lost our ability to protect our residents, we've lost our ability to do any kind of land planning. It is an extremely, it's a real form of harassment by the provincial government, and it definitely needs to be stopped. And no matter which way you approach it, there has to be something solid done in order for the provincial government to hear that we are not a happy group up here. Not just us, pretty well all Grey, Bruce, and part of Simcoe County, where they're deciding to stick these things, that they need to do a little bit more discussion with us and a little bit more respect on our knowledge of our area with our residents.
Okay. Don, further comment?
I will agree with you, Bev, on that point there, that we got to stick together. If we want to fight something, we have to stick together. And we have a group that's called AMO that is our representative. And most times than not, they're in bed with the provincial government. They're not working for our interest. And that sucks. And they should be taking the planning issues about wind towers and gravel pits and severances and all that, and fighting for all of us. And that, it just pisses me off.
Be careful what you ask for, Don, because there's a lot of urban municipalities out there that are asking for gravel. And there's a lot more of the population represented by those urbans that are asking for gravel than there are from the local municipalities that have the gravel. And AMO certainly has. I will disagree with you for one, that I've sat on the AMO board, had that opportunity, and AMO certainly has. AMO went to bat, didn't win everything, but certainly won on the fiscal review of who does what and who's responsible. It was certainly AMO that lobbied and pushed the provincial government to this government to upload a lot of the social fiscal responsibilities. That was led by AMO, and how many billions of dollars that has been uploaded and taken off of municipal. So AMO has done a lot for us. Have they done everything? Have they won every battle? No. But what you've got to understand, though, is AMO doesn't represent just rural Ontario or just counties. It represents 444 out of the 445 municipalities in Ontario. And it's a tough balancing act for them to be able to find common ground between all of those 444 municipalities. I imagine it was even tougher when, before amalgamation, when we had over 1,000 municipalities. So, okay. All right, we've got 3. Are we at 3 or we got 3 now? Okay, well, that's it for new business. Any other new business? Because we do have 3 motions. Bev?
There's just one other thing that I would like discussed at the committee of the whole, and that is, and I have several health studies that support this, but I don't want to bring it up now, weather-wise, etc. But again, the West Grey Wind Turbine Committee would like to discuss putting in a 1.4 kilometer 1.4 kilometer setback for wind turbines for receptors. So, but that we will do at the committee of the whole, because that will be a fairly long discussion with a fair amount of information to be.
Okay. Thanks for that heads up. Okay. Addendums. Don't believe there's any addendums. Then we have 3 direct motions coming forward. We'll need 2/3 majority to introduce those. All those in favor of introducing the 3 direct motions? Any opposed? That's carried. Mark does have them prepared, so we're going to hand them out and see if we can get a mover and seconder for those 3 motions. In the world. Okay. No. Okay. Now the 3 motions. The first one, I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Whereas solid literacy skills are vital to our social and economic development as a municipality, and whereas research shows that parents have a strong influence on the literacy development of their children, and whereas the South Grey Bruce Youth Literacy Council, in tandem with our schools and libraries, serve to secure a solid learning foundation for our children, and whereas family learning helps maintain the literacy level of adults and encourages the development of lifelong readers and learners, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby proclaims January 27th, 2013 as Canada's Family Literacy Day in the Municipality of West Grey, with focused events throughout the year. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. No, Mark. The second motion I have moved by David Mollison and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby supports an annual contribution of $500 to cover administrative costs and membership in the Multi-Municipal Wind Turbines Working Group.
It's for the secretarial purposes.
Okay. So it's just administrative costs?
Yeah, it's just to help pay for a secretary. Administrative costs, yeah.
That's, and Councillor Eccles, John.
That was a one-time, not an annual? Just for 2013? That was my understanding of it originally.
Could be requested again next year, but at this point it's for this year, yes.
So what you were saying was, I mean, we've got it, it's in here saying it's annual, but the mover and seconder with that supports a 2013 contribution of $500 and take out an annual?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the mover and seconder are happy with that. Okay. Any other questions, comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And the third one, I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby authorizes the CEO to draft a letter to the MP, Larry Miller, noting the increased range of bald eagles in southern Ontario, including this area, and expressing concerns relating to the destruction of bald eagle nests in Haldimand County by Nextera Energy Canada. Bev.
You say a bald eagle's nest, it makes it sound like it was multiple nests? Oh, it did say that? He did, okay.
Yep. Destruction of a bald eagle's nest. Sorry, I probably did misread it. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, that's it for direct motions. Closed session. I don't believe we have any need for a closed session at this point in time. Question period. Don, we always are open to questions relating to anything on the agenda. And Don doesn't have any at this point in time. Adam shaking his hand. Well, we have Deputy Mayor, Mr. Bell.
Real quick, going back to this question, Bev, you probably have this answer for me if we could. The bald eagle's nest that was moved in Haldimand, was that done by Nextera or was that done by a subsidiary that was working for Nextera?
I believe it was done by Nextera. If you go to the Wind Concerns thing on here, you will see the pictures posted, and I believe it was Nextera, which was another problem because they were supposed to have people who were, you know, trained or not trained, but knowledgeable about that sort of thing.
I guess my biggest problem is when it comes to Americans playing with Canadian wildlife, that's a big no-no in many sections of this country. So what kind of permits they had for that, I don't know. But I know that if you did not have a permit as an American, you came into this country and took wildlife out, you spend days and weeks and months in jail for that kind of stuff. So Mr. Miller might pick up on that.
Okay. Mark, no, nothing further. Councillor Lawrence, question?
I just wondered if on Committee of the Whole agenda, if we'll be discussing at least the two delegations that were here, the ATV and the Durham Girls, on our Committee of the Whole.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll say that they will be. Mark has given me assurances that they'll be there. Very good. Municipal Act notices. I don't believe we have any or any public notices. And adjournment. Councillor Mollison moves that we adjourn. Thank you, Dave. And I'll accept that motion. We'll stand adjourned until the next meeting on February the 4th and or the call of the mayor. Thank you.